and it's coming down pretty good. So we chose to be out here on the deck. Got Spencer coming up in just a minute, but we want to thank everybody for watching, and thanks for tuning in today. It's a beautiful day. Just look at how gorgeous it is out there. We got the birds on the feeder. It's kind of fun to watch them. We got a red squirrel over on the feeder tray over here. Right now we're just using those type feeders. The tray feeders get a little bit tough, and we didn't want any bears that are out in the enclosure to come up and start moving those around. But we just want to thank everybody for watching and say hi, how you been? And wow, the season's done already. It's amazing. The season started late this year, as everybody knows. And here's Spencer with me. Hey, Spencer. He's going to try and get some birds on the hand. And I don't think we've got to go through our whole season, but this is just to give you an update of the North American Bear Center season that we had. Talk about a few other interesting things and topics that we've got going on, and kind of just give you a rundown of maybe some things that are going to happen during the off season, right? And I got to tell you, the year started out challenging, as everybody probably knows, but the Bear Center started out planning what we were going to do for the spring opening. And we started that way back in November of last year. We had Give to the Max Day in November last year. Did a great job. Everybody out there did, thanking everybody for donating and helping out to get to our goal, above our goal, actually, last year. But as we moved on through the winter months and that, we started realizing a bunch of our programs and plans were going to change, didn't we? And as everybody knows, that was all due to COVID, and it affected us across the world. And each day that we went through that, it got a little bit more worrisome, and we had more concern about COVID and about everything that was going on. And then we found out, well, we can't open when we're supposed to. Kept waiting for that as we were sitting at home working from home because we couldn't be at the Bear Center because they had went through a shutdown here in Minnesota on businesses. So from that point on, we were changing a lot of plans, from interns arriving to interns not being able to come because they were overseas. And we started out the season right away with only 4 interns, which we usually have 6. So we were grateful to have the 4 interns. And if you're watching, hi out there to all the interns, right? And then we usually have 3 interns in the fall, and we only ended up with 2 because of the international situation where they could not travel. And our borders were closed to that. But all in all, the Bear Center finally opened up around June 10th, I think it was, 10th or 12th, right in that area, mid-June. And believe me, everybody was excited to get back to work and kind of break the habit of staying at home a lot. And I think everybody out there understands what it's like to be, as my words are, cooped up in the house, or about your area, right? Oh, there he's got a black-capped chickadee on there, another one on there. You like his hands. Look at that. That's fun to watch. But, the Bear Center opened up. We opened up with restrictions of 25% of the people that we could only allow in versus, of course, naturally 100% that we could allow in. So that made us so we had to have 60 people that we could allow in at a time, which in the next breath, we had to adjust and hire a couple people to help us do cleaning throughout the store to make sure everything was sanitary and safe for all of our visitors and our employees and our volunteers and our interns. We had to make sure that we were counting people at the door, because that was the best way that we could do it, to make sure we didn't go over our allowable limit at that time. And it got to the point as the year went on, the staff and the interns and the volunteers, I can go on and on, all you out there that helped us out. It turned out to be a good year. Yeah. It really did.
Especially for starting mid-June.
It did, for starting mid-June. I mean, our expectations were we didn't know what it was going to be, right? Correct. But we actually exceeded our own expectations, because we weren't thinking anybody was going to even travel at that point. And it turns out they wanted to get out of their houses, so they were traveling up here, which in itself brought another fear. And that fear being that they were going to bring maybe a big-sized bout of COVID up here. And that kind of made the staff and everybody nervous. Yeah. And all in all, we did real good. We did have a couple of scares throughout the season with volunteers and employees and staff. But ultimately, they came back with negative tests, but it made you nervous. And when it hits home, it hits home. And it kind of turned our whole season a little bit odd at that point, to where we were doing behind-the-scene tours about every 10 minutes to 15 minutes. And I had noticed that our staff and our volunteers and our interns were getting pretty wore out. And we all discussed it, and we had to make some changes at that point, because we had some staff that we had lost, and not to COVID, but just to change. And the bottom line was we had to make a change. So now we had to go down to 40 people. That was about mid-August. No, early August, actually. Down to the 40 allowed guests in the store. So we went from 60 down to 40. Allowed us to manage the store better with the people that we had. It seemed to raise attitudes, and energy seemed to pick back up. And lo and behold, we rolled into the end of September with actually September being a pretty strong September. We were barely behind the September of the year before. No pun intended on the Bears. All in all, the year we're going to end up considerably lower than we would have in a full year open. But that said and done, we're thankful for what the year turned out to be so far. And it's thanks to you guys out there that supported us online. It's thanks to you guys for supporting the Bear Center. It's thanks to everybody that showed up here. Really a big thanks to our interns and our volunteers, our Bear educators, our staff, for mustering through this season and mustering through lives at home with their children and schools and you name it. But all in all, nature doesn't change, does it? We're watching the birds come up here. They're happy. And we got to work in that environment, which made it a whole lot easier, did it not? But we all know the challenges of this year that are still ongoing. And with the Bear Center now officially closed, we can talk about some things that are fun and that are coming up. And we can hope that there's going to be change for us to open in the spring that will be beneficial to the business and to all of us as far as health goes. Correct? I know Spencer, as we talk about this, Sharon, I'm sure you're out there watching if you are. And Sharon's our bear keeper, our senior bear keeper, and does a great job. We not only seen changes in people, we not only seen changes in our whole world, but we were seeing it in our bears this year. Were we not? Our bears hibernated. Holly hibernated in Tasha's den. She stole Tasha's den. Yeah. Tasha did all the work, and Holly went in the den. How early was that?
She's been in the den for a while now, honestly. It's kind of forgotten that she's been there for so long, because it was such a long time ago.
Almost 3 weeks.
Yeah. She's been in there for a while. And Tasha's new prospective den, because we're not sure where it is, isn't too far away. It's what we think is the most probable site for the Tasha's new dug den.
And Tasha normally goes in around the 27th. So normally right around today and yesterday and today.
Right before Sharon left, she said we have about a few days of a window, and that's usually when she hibernates. And Sharon left on Saturday, and we're at Wednesday, so it would either be the last day, I think, is tomorrow, is her usual denning window. So.
And I haven't seen no tracks down here. Of course, they'd be covered right about now with the fresh snow that we're getting. I see now it's starting to slow down just a little bit, but the bears even started to kind of change a little bit. Yeah, we noticed that in wildlife up here in the Ely, Babbitt area, that we started to see things changing faster. And lo and behold, we got snow on the ground about, a good 2.5 to 3 weeks earlier than we normally have it on the ground. It's been on the ground now up here for, a little over 2 weeks? Yeah, and probably going to stay, although we're supposed to be in the 40s somewhat next week and have a little bit of a warm-up. We probably have got that winter is going to hold on for a while this year, don't you think?
Yeah, I think the Bears knew it before we did.
So I'm thinking we are more aware of things that are going on, or they just changed. And I'm thinking that things changed a little bit this year for us. We're just hoping everybody out there has been safe. I know we've talked to a lot of you, and we've gotten to kind of look at everything as a whole here at the Bear Center and our volunteer program and our intern program and all you out there that have helped us out so much, the pond chatters, the moderators. Um, we just can't thank everybody enough for keeping their chin up and their head up. We had a lot of issues to open up the Bear Center. We had septic systems that failed. We had we had a waterfall pump that failed. Of course, trying to get some of these parts and stuff was a challenge, and getting people to come and do it was a challenge. We had kind of a strange year as far as expenses. When you don't want expenses, guess what happens? Look at Spencer. They're thinking the birds are more important than us. They just panned over to them. I don't blame them. I'd rather watch the birds too. But the fun side of the business has been the bears. The bears have kept us all energized. The birds have kept us energized this year. And we're getting to do this kind of stuff now where we didn't get to do a lot of that last year. And we've gotten to do a lot behind the scenes even with the guests this year. And that's been exciting. But the fun part's coming up for us at the Bear Center. We get to plan a new year. It's going to be an easier year to plan because we might actually be able to implement some of the stuff we planned last year. And we're just hoping to go into this next year with a great big smile and open it up fully, and everybody's healthy, and we're cooking here at the Bear Center because we're talking about some pretty neat programs. We've been going over quite a few things here just the last few days that we want to see grow. We'd like to see our live broadcast programs possibly grow. We'd like to see some of our remote camera stuff possibly grow. We'd like to see the Bear Center as a whole grow in visitations and in support, correct? We got a great support group out there now, but, it never hurts to grow it. It never hurts. And I think we've been pretty fortunate with the group we've got, don't you?
Oh, for sure. We have an amazing support group here at the Bear Center.
And I'll tell you, we continue to head in a direction at the North American Bear Center that furthers the mission of Dr. Lynn Rogers. And, one of the things that I'm very excited about is the fact that, Dr. Lynn Rogers is very involved here at the Bear Center. He really enjoys seeing change and growth. He was here this morning with us. Yeah, he was talking about what?
We were talking about which exhibits that we're going to work hard on to update over the winter this year.
And that's a neat thing in itself because we put that off for a few years. And we want to give a definite shout out to all the people that have helped us over the years, and that's the volunteers. Our touch screens still are popular. All of our things are still popular out there that have been in the past. Sorry about that. I got a phone. I tried to shut off the ringer. But anyway, I think this year we're probably not going to grow inside a ton, but we are still going to grow outside. We were unable to take on our big project that we wanted to start this year right away in the spring, and that was doing our fencing, all of our new zoo fencing along this front area here and all the way up into the enclosures, and then looking at doing the enclosures. Unfortunately, with restrictions and companies cutting down on production and companies not even be able to be in the places they should be, we had to stop that project. And we would only been able to do a portion of it anyway because the project financially is going to cost quite a bit of money. We're thinking it's going to end up eventually costing well over $100,000, and that's probably light. But this year, we're excited to announce that Give to the Max is going to be starting.
Yeah, real soon.
And early giving starting in the 1st of November, right?
As usual, yeah. You can start giving early once November starts.
The 1st of November.
Right.
And I think you can find out on our website, and if you go to GiveMN, you can also see the dates and stuff that they've got on there. But there's going to be golden tickets given out again daily. And then when we get to actual Give to the Max, which is the 20th of November, no, it's the 19th. I'm sorry. Gee, why I got 20th in my head because it was on one of my charts. It's the 19th of November. We'll be here at about 11:30 on the 18th of November to kick it off. We'll be here for probably an hour, and then we'll take off, go home, get some sleep, and we'll hit her hard the next day. And we'll be here from 8 o'clock in the morning till probably what 12:30, 1 o'clock, Ely time. For all you overseas folks, that's some different hours. And we say hi to all the international people out there. How you doing? But it's going to be a fun time. We're going to have good guests. We're going to have a little bit of fun with it again. I don't know for sure, but we might have Dancing Bear show up even. Bouncing Bear, that's right. I grew up with Dancing Bear. Bouncing Bear, but you never know, right? And if that ice gets thick enough, he might have to do a Bouncing Bear Angel, right? That'll look good. But, that's going to be a big day. It's going to be a big kickoff, and we're going to be going after, a set amount of money. We're going to try our best because we know it's a challenging year for everybody, but we're going to keep the amount that we go after this year as a goal the same as we had last year. And that's because we just got to look at it as, there's challenges out there this year with finances and different things, but the Bear Center still got to move forward and we still got to operate, although none of that goes toward operating costs, but it does help our attendance, having things function and look good. So we're going to do that, and we're excited about it. It's going to be fun. Sharon, I know you're looking forward to it, so it should be a lot of fun. And she's at home in Michigan right now, but she's going to be heading back here again, right?
Huh? She always comes back for Give It to the Max Day.
Yeah. And, we're looking at doing some fun things. We're going to have golden tickets given away, I think, every hour during that period, starting midnight on the 19th. Starts at midnight, a.m., 12:01 a.m. So please tune into that and help us out, help us reach our goal. And tell your friends, family, even people that maybe aren't your friends, tell. Because maybe they want to support the Bear Center, right? But I think our group, most of us all have friends, don't you think? But right now, Spencer, why don't you go over kind of what you've seen with the Bears? And I'll kind of shut up here for a minute.
Right on. Well, as anyone who's been keeping up on the cams knows, Ted is still awake in terms of he's not quite fully hibernating yet. Sharon has adjusted the meal, so Ted is getting fed. Lucky hasn't shown his face for a while, so he's no longer getting fed. Holly, as we talked about, not showing her face for a long time, so she also isn't getting fed. Tasha is still coming around, and Sharon has instructed us to feed her if she shows up during the feeding, so we're doing that. We have found where she's been testing multiple spots for her potential den, which is really cool to see because right now, if you take a look around, all you see is white. But where Tasha's digging, there is a ton of dirt. So it lets us know where she is. Also, when we do see her, she's got a dirty nose and dirty paws, so we know she's digging. She keeps running into roots and rocks, and so she is looking for that perfect area. Carter and I, after we fed yesterday, the Bears, we did go and do a perimeter check to see if we could see that den, and we're pretty sure we may have found something. So when he gets here today and we go feed Ted after the broadcast, we're going to go check that site again, especially with the fresh snow now. We'll be able to tell if she's used it recently. So that'll be kind of neat. You can't really see it from the fence, so it's tough to get pictures of, but we're somewhat certain, I guess not even certain, but we have a guess that that's probably where her new den is. And again, it's not too far from Holly's. Holly's being kind of towards the cub tree away from the deck here. Tasha's new one would just be a little bit up the fence line. So that's pretty cool. Ted, though, I think usually he stays up well into November. He doesn't look like he's going to make it to November. He looks pretty comfy. And when we go see him, I mean, he's all buried in that hay. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ted went to bed a little earlier than normal. But again, my short experience here doesn't give me a whole lot of years to look back on. So we'll go from whatever Sharon tells us to go off of. But as of right now, Ted and Tasha, the only Bears to be being fed, and Tasha only when she comes around, which isn't necessarily every day even now. So, right. That hopefully signifies that den's completed and she's in it. And remember, Tasha doesn't like to use the bedding we provide. She likes to get her own. So we did place. I know the rock den has hay that's going to be unused. There's a few other places where we put spot just in case, especially because Holly kicked her out. But she typically will still only like to use the leaves and the chewed up bark and the mosses and the other thing that she finds and makes herself. So that also makes it hard to figure out where she dens, because if you put a hay in a location that disappears, we know that someone got hay from that area. well, Tasha doesn't use the hay, so we can't use that to tell where she's going or where she's been.
It's kind of fun to see the transition that they go through.
It is cool to see that transition. Yes, like right now.
Early this year, they were transitioning so quickly.
Yeah, and just the slow movement, because they'll go, the last couple weeks in August where they're really packing on the pounds eating, and then all of a sudden a couple weeks go by and they're really slow. They're licking real slow. They're barely picking stuff up off the ground, and they just really mellow out. And then depending on whenever they're ready, they go in that den and they don't come out. So.
And I'm sure the people online seen that also,
right.
the change in how they were moving around and such.
Right, when you get those live broadcasts towards the end of the year, when you get the bears down here, Lucky and Holly in the end of August are chasing each other. But as soon as September rolls around, a lot of the chasing stops, and it's a lot more lethargic movements, and they are a lot slower than they would be, midsummer.
Yeah, we got to have the biggest red squirrels I've seen. Look at how big they are.
Yeah, we got some sizable ones. No, I think last year we counted close to 30 in one time down in the viewing area. So as winter gets going and the food becomes more scarce out in the wild for those animals, they will congregate under and on our bird feeders because they do like them. And we'll have bird feeders up on this line shortly. I just have them on the one right now, but we'll get them both set up like last year as well.
Well, it's kind of funny because as I'm looking at the red squirrels, we had a time this year where we were taking people behind the scenes so often that the squirrels were getting fed as much as the bears. So we had to have a relocation program that we set up where we were actually safely live trapping the squirrels and then moving them to another site. And chipmunks too, because we so many that the guests were getting they were crawling up your clothes and everywhere. Weren't
they would literally go right to a guest's foot and start climbing up the jeans and looking for food that they didn't have.
So we wanted to make sure that they were okay, so we live trapped them and we relocated them. And all that I could think was if somebody seen those and go, what are those? They're so big, And you're like, oh, they look like red squirrels, but they're huge, I mean. And we know that they did good. They had to do good. I'm sure some returned.
Right. We had some guests say, "Wow, you got some really red gray squirrels here." And we were like, "Well, yeah, but they're actually red squirrels. They're just rather large." But we got rid of about 25 squirrels and chipmunks altogether.
We used to have those ground squirrels here a lot. What happened to them? I haven't seen them for a long time.
Yeah, I didn't notice the Franklin's ground squirrels as much this year either. I think I saw one or two throughout the course of the summer, but usually they're pretty noticeable and prevalent in the viewing area, especially, and right where we start the behind the scenes. I didn't see that this year as much.
I wonder if maybe one of the Raptors moved in and got a hold of that, because we always have seen them in years past.
Or the groundhogs just went off this year and kicked them out.
Wow, the groundhogs took over the residency, and they should keep us a little bit busy this winter, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How many's in there?
It's tough to say.
What's the name of those groundhogs again?
Chucky is the resident one that in the summertime. The rock den is his summer den or her summer den. We're not sure. And then each of the septic mounds, which we have 3 here at the Bear Center, each has at least one resident groundhog, plus our parking lot brim and the right-of-way to 169 each have 2. So
you're gonna have to rename the place the North American Groundhog Center pretty soon. They'll be looking up here to get the shadow, right? You think so? They are sizable groundhogs.
Chucky's pretty big.
Yeah, and we're going to really pay attention. The reason why we're talking about the wildlife out here is this next year, 2021, we're going to make sure that we're really highlighting a lot of things with our nature and our environment within the enclosure that we have, and basically what the bears are surrounded by. Right. And right behind us on the viewing deck area here, we're going to set up a real nice nature display that describes the things that you may see inside the enclosure and talks about them, such as our black-capped chickadees and our red squirrels, the groundhogs, or the woodchucks, I call them, or look at all the different birds that we've got up here right now. White-throated sparrows, I've seen. Juncos down below, we've got, right?
Yeah, we even had the martin come in this year and
chase the
chipmunks around the bear scale. That was pretty cool.
And then we just got some, what's that down there?
White-throat.
White-throat down there. I thought for a minute it had red on it. Pine siskins are coming here too. I haven't seen any yet this year. Have you?
Well, there's the ones on the back side of that black oil feeder is one.
It is. Okay. Yeah. All right. And the wings there. But we're going to focus a lot on that. I know Dr. Lynn Rogers has wanted us to do a bird feeder out here that shows how you can have birds and bears and survive. And so we're going to try and do that this year with all of our other little projects that we got going on. But we just want the Bear Center to be the best place it can be, and a place that absolutely moves forward with Dr. Lynn Rogers' mission, and that is to talk about black bears and
the North Woods
and the myths
and misconceptions
of black bears. And it's so important that we get that message out to everybody. I know it's been one of those unusual broadcasts, but what would be weird is if we had to do something normal this year, right? We'd end up broadcasting from the deck. I called, hey, we're not going to be able to broadcast outside. It's snowing too hard. And camera don't tend to pick up the snow as hard as it really was snowing. So we would have been looking pretty frosty by the time it was done.
It's always a little worse in person than what it shows on the camera in terms of snow anyway.
Yeah, but it sure is beautiful up here. And this is one of the reasons why we live up here is the seasons. And I'm just hoping everybody is enjoying the seasons that they have too, and really, really reflects on them and knows that this will be one last year you'll see that season, right?
Right.
It is. Everyone is one lesson you're going to see someday. But here at the Bear Center, we're always moving forward, and we're always trying hard to move that mission, aren't we? And with that, we're going to sign off here, but let's remember that day, that very important day. November 1st starts early giving for Give to the Max, and then the 19th is our big day, starting at 12:01 a.m. and going till 12 p.m., correct? Yeah, and it'll be fun and exciting. I'm going to just get my phone here just so that I don't miss something I should be saying. Oh, Sharon Harrell just texted hi and hi to all. So she just wanted me to say hi and Spencer to say hi to everybody out there, correct? And from the North American Bear Center and all the staff out here, we thank all of our volunteers. We thank all of because we could not do it without you. Believe me, we could not. The pond chatters, the moderators, we just thank the birds that are flying up to us. There's one saying goodbye. Did you have anything to say? Let's see. Well, maybe not. But it was close, But again, signing off, and we're hoping to be back live here in a few weeks and just pumping everybody up on the big days that are coming. Have a great day. Enjoy the snow. Bye now.